Oh my goodness, a lot. Hadn't always been a Christian. Had a little bit of a rocky life. Run with some motorcycle gangs, and so I've made some big changes. I think I'm a great dad. Very blessed with an amazing family. So, like I say, just happy with who I am and where I'm at. Haven't always been that way. I was a free spirit, we'll say. Like a lot of people, I was an alcoholic at one time. Dabbled in a little bit of drugs here and there, everywhere, and then I got saved, gave my life to the Lord, and all of it went away. Everything changed. So I have to recommend this life for me a lot more than the other one. There was always a hole there. There was always something, and I was trying to fill it with the world. And it's never full. You're never going to find it.
Very, very funny you ask me that question. Well, I actually discharged out of the U.S. Army in 2012, which was a very trying and sophisticated time period of my life, to say the least. And when I say trying, I mean definitely the negative sense for about 6 months, and then I basically got a hold of myself and recovered. I started taking better care of my health, physical and mental. And ever since that period of time, I've decided to dedicate more to myself and my health and mental health, both physical and mental health. That would be the change, I would say. It kind of went from, like you said before, when my daughter was born, I dedicated my entire life to her and only to her and for her. And I eventually realized that can get a little bit toxic over time, to where you're not thinking of yourself enough. So the past 10 years, I've decided to think a little bit more for myself, I guess I would say, to sum it up.
I've grown from 35 to 45, so new plateau, I think. Deeper thinking, more thinking about others and my squirrels than me. No, I bring them nuts every day and fresh water and flowers. And look, they drink for like a year now. Well, I lost my job when COVID hit, so I started feeding squirrels, sitting around, and sitting here, and there's an old lady that would bring food, and she would talk about there's no water in the park at all. So I kind of converted that, and I bring water, buckets of it, every day. I don't know, it gives me a purpose. Get up, gives me a reason to get out of the house, Yeah.
Wow. Well, the last 10 years, I have been living in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. I married a man, and we took off and went down there to live because of his family. We have since parted just within the past 3 years, and now I live in Florida. Within the last 4 years is when my onset of my illness started. So I changed a lot. I had to grow up a whole lot. I was a severe alcoholic, to where now I don't drink at all. I never went through any meetings or any drugs or anything like that. I just decided I had to quit, and I did that, so I'm very proud of myself for that. But for the last 10 years, I couldn't tell you a whole lot.
Oh man, I got clean. I removed substances from my arm. I was an IV heroin user.
Last 10 years? That's a good question. I guess you could say people think older, wiser, smarter. I don't know. I think maybe more mature. Had a baby, changes you a lot, focuses your responsibilities, changes what's important in your life. I think that's probably the biggest change in my life recently. Luckily, our daughter loves to eat, and then because she loves to eat, she also loves to sleep. So we're sleeping pretty well, luckily.
Over the last 10 years, I think I accepted more that I like to do things on my own. You see, I'm now on a vacation on my own, and I really enjoy it. And before, I'm usually just joined groups and did what they like, and I think that's it, to accept yourself more.
Oh wow, 20 years ago. I was 20 years old. I was going to college at the time, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life at all, and I really kind of got hung up on that, not even knowing what I was pursuing at school. You know, it's still something I'm working on, trying to get back to loving myself, but I have got a lot better at that overall, and just I know what I need to focus on inside, just trying to be myself, you know, not put on, a face for anyone else or other people or anything like that. I think I've got a little more confident in just being who I am. Much more confident in the past 10 years, but something you still have to, or at least I have to remind myself time and time, but.
Wow, okay, well, I'm 25, 15 years old. I was a sophomore in high school playing football, and now I'm 10 years later, I'm working at a steakhouse. I'm honestly very happy, I'm driving my dream car right now, living in a really nice apartment, and I have a beautiful girlfriend, and just trying to set goals to get to my next goal, One of my mottos is maintain and progress, because no matter how small a step forward, you always want to make sure you're going forward. And, when you set goals and do things like that, helps you get to the next frontier in life,
Wow, I have matured a lot and acquired some more discipline and on my way to a healthier lifestyle and happily married. The happily married part, I think, contributed a lot, that I'm a very free spirit and he is very disciplined, and we kind of meshed well for each other. Kind of fun to fall in love at 50, so, yeah.
I've gotten older. That's right. I guess if I'm going to hurt, if I'm going to fall, I probably would hurt myself a little more. Thinking is a little slower. I've been blessed. I have been blessed, man. There's no question about it. I've never been hungry. All of my friends, just about all of my friends are long gone dead.
I started taking medication and it changed my entire life, for depression and stuff. And I went from being really sad to not sad anymore, which was pretty cool.
I feel like I've changed so much as a person in 10 years, but I'm dating the person I was dating 10 years ago. We just got back together last summer.
That is me, yeah.
So it's funny you said 10 years.
Yeah, it's a pretty funny time frame. Beyond that, I think personally, kind of a change from being more focused on myself and my own things that I wanted to convey to people, and more trying to think about, hearing other people first and taking that as the primary lead in a conversation or in a relationship. Because I don't think you can really continue to call yourself growing if you continue to linger in that, that previous state I mentioned that I think we all go through as we're becoming quote-unquote adults.
10 years, much more responsible. Physically, the last few years, I think I've gotten much older and gray. That happens when you have a sick parent. My mom just died 3 weeks ago. I lost my stepfather, my real father, my first stepfather, and my mom all in the last 3 years, all my parental people. So I think that changed my life greatly. Forces you to be more responsible. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I feel like I haven't changed much. I feel like I'm very much the same person, but I'm smarter. I have a career. I live in Philly, which is my favorite place. I grew up in the suburbs. 10 years ago, I was in the suburbs. That was awful. I'm happier. Yeah, I think that's it. Those are the only ones that come to mind immediately.
So I guess I used to be really introverted, never really, tried to do social things, go to social gatherings, stuff like that. I kept to myself mostly, and in a way I was kind of isolating myself. So I gradually, over the years, I've become more extroverted, and actually enjoy doing things, hanging out with people, and that's caused me to grow more as a person. So I guess development from that. Gonna have a weird sound on this video now.
So I guess 10 years ago I was a 12-year-old, so that's crazy to think about. So I guess a lot in the last 10 years in a lot of ways in life. But I would say when I was 12, I really thought I wanted to be an art teacher. I wasn't confident in myself, obviously, because who's confident at the age of 12? It's a little crazy. And then I think high school I realized I was more into sciences and stuff, but I still wanted to be a teacher. And then college, I was trying to make my family happy by wanting to be a doctor, and then I kind of realized that wasn't what I wanted. And so I just got finished with my master's program. That's where I became more confident in myself and more decisions. And I was I'll just be a professor and hopefully do lecturing at medical school. So I guess getting more confidence in myself and making sure I'm following my own path has been one thing that's really changed.
Over the last 10 years, I went to from someone who was very much kind of nominal, and I had a Christian worldview, basically, a biblical worldview, but I realized actually roughly about 10 years ago that I was worshiping the creation and finding my identity in created things rather than the creator who's the ground of all being, all knowing, all beauty, all goodness, right? So in the last 10 years, I've become radically devoted to knowing and loving God and finding my happiness and peace and satisfaction in Christ. Yeah, it's been like the best 10 years of my life. You caught me at the right time with that question.